I hope my chair is not too wiggly and that the glare on my glasses is not too bad. That's too dark. You can literally see the light in my glasses, but what's going on, friends? I'm so glad that you're here today. We're going to be talking about why I homeschool. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of information about myself and our family's decision to homeschool, and I hope that this can help you in making your decision or even solidifying the decision that you already made. To give you a little bit of background about me in case you don't know already, I used to be a teacher and I spent 5 years in the classroom. So kind of on the other side of things. And I taught second grade for 2 years, and then I taught kindergarten for 2 years and spent a little bit of time teaching a STEM class, science, technology, engineering, and math. And that was like an elective. And then I also spent a little bit of time as a reading interventionist, also supporting teachers and all that jazz. So I spent 5 years in a dedicated traditional school setting and then switched out of the classroom, and during that time, I really made my decision to homeschool. Now, I say that for a number of reasons, so that's kind of what I'm going to get into. When I was teaching in the classroom, a big thing that I noticed, especially because I went from a very small district to a decent sized school, and that was like a private school, so I can't really say district, but their setup was much larger than my first experience in the classroom. So I had second grade, there were 20-ish kids, 21, 22. I kind of was like on the cusp of that. And that was a great class size. Of course, I didn't have like an aide or anything like that. And then whenever I was teaching kindergarten, I think I got up to 28 kindergartners, and that was like full day. I had one aide half the day, and then she switched to the classroom that was like next door to me. So I really realized during those few years that every single one of those students was not getting exactly what they needed at all times of the day. Even though there were two of us, two adults in there to support those children, there is just not enough hours. There is not enough minutes. There are not enough times where true instruction is happening. Teachers have a lot on their plates, and they do what they can with the resources and the time and the support that they have. And I think that it is very overwhelming as a teacher to feel like you are basically doing a disservice by not being able to meet the needs of every single one of those kids. And I, of course, had teacher guilt about that, but I did not want to eventually have mom guilt having my child be on the receiving end of that. And for whatever reason, if he needed extra support or if there were difficulties that he kind of had along the way and needed more instruction or more help and all of that, there was the big possibility that he would fall between the cracks. I knew for a fact that he probably wasn't going to be pushed to do any more, and he probably wasn't going to be held to the expectations that I had already had for him at home and the things that we were working on early on in his education career, if you will. So having a mix of being away from my own child and knowing that that was going to be his experience and his own schooling, we quickly made the decision to homeschool. And that was around when he was 4. So I knew that we had, the last year that was really dedicated to, okay, are we going to keep him in preschool? Or are we going to keep him at the same school that he attended preschool? Or are we going to go ahead and homeschool? So luckily for me, I made the decision. We attended like the kindergarten orientation for the preschool that he was already attending, because they did have a kindergarten program. And I wasn't too jazzed with what they were offering. I absolutely loved the people. I loved the program. I felt very comfortable with him there. He loved it. We loved it, all those things. But for some reason, something was just telling me that we would be so much better off homeschooling. And so that's the decision that we made. And then 3 months later, his preschool shut down because of COVID. So not only did that kind of solidify the decision, but for me, that was even more of like the reassurance that I needed that was the right decision, and that homeschooling was definitely for us. So that is kind of all in a nutshell what led us to homeschooling specifically, and why our family decided on that choice. Now, I've talked about this in my what I wish I knew before homeschooling video. If you haven't seen that, I'll put it up above so you can check that one out too. There have, of course, it's been a learning curve, of course. I have not done this before. My husband has not done this before. My son has not done this before. There are lots of fabulous people that I have learned from along the way, and also, of course, having a background in education already, I've taken a lot of those things, but it's so much different than the classroom in so many ways, and good ways. A lot of the times people think if you're homeschooling, your kids are not going to be socialized, or they're going to miss out on X, Y, and Z, but there are also so many other perks of homeschooling and having your own child's education in your hands and your responsibility, because let's be honest, we know our kids best. And yes, while playing and doing fun things at school, there are also benefits of getting to teach your kids life skills from you. I know that there are many other moms who homeschool who take the opportunity to let their kids really dive into things that they have a genuine passion for and interest in, and that's something that you won't see. They don't have the time, realistically, they don't, to have every student's needs met in a traditional school setting. And so that's something that I love, that my child will grow up having those opportunities for him because we homeschool. That I know a lot of people who homeschool find ways to make money from home and even have a business that they operate from their house or their home as well. And that's another opportunity for your child to get to know what that looks like. Those are real world life experiences and really learning from the people who they learn best from. Another thing I get asked about pretty often as far as why we homeschool, some people are like, well, I need a break from my kids. I totally hear you on that. I was definitely the same way, but it's important to ebb and flow with the things that life throws at us. If there's a problem, then find a solution, even if it's a solution that you're not used to, or you kind of have to pave your own way for. So for me, I absolutely enjoy my alone time. I am 100% on board that it is important to have time for you and your partner and time for your hobbies and all of those things. But also having an understanding with your child that they have to respect that time that you need to be the best you, and that you are also allowing for them to have that time as well. So for my son, he knows that playing alone and sometimes having a break from everything is beneficial for himself and to kind of figure out who he is and what he likes and all of those things. And I explain it the same way when I need that time too. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes my alone time looks like going to the grocery store, going to pick up lunch somewhere, running to get some supplies for whatever we're going to be learning next. And that's okay, because I have learned that I still get that alone time even if it looks different than I want it to. I communicate with my husband whenever I need some extra alone time, or if I need to go get my nails done or go hang out with my mom for a little bit. And that's all something that comes with it, and learning the territory of taking on a new lifestyle or a new groove of things. And that's okay. I think a lot of the time that strays us away, not being comfortable, not going with what's normal. So that's all I have for you guys today. I wanted just to have a super casual talk with you guys. I wish that there were more videos kind of like this of parents who homeschool, especially because I have the experience of being in a classroom as a teacher. I think it's important that I can be realistic and honest about what I noticed and what I saw and how that has changed my mindset about education and especially homeschooling. Because if I wouldn't be in this position myself, I still would probably expect for everyone to send their kid to traditional school, because that's just what I was used to. I grew up in public school. I went to public school, all that jazz. Like I said, I was a teacher for 5 years in a public school setting, so I get it. But don't be afraid to break those norms and to change things if that fits you and your needs more than what we're used to. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this helped you think a little bit about homeschooling and if it's for you, and encouraging your choice to do that for you and your family and your learner or learners. And I will see you guys next time.